Okay, hello. So this is league match number 2. Keep winning those die rolls, which is awesome. So again, I'm playing Splinter Twin. This hand is not something I want. I think on the draw, if this was a Steam Vent, so it came into play untapped, I would be tempted, or Fetch Land, I'd be tempted just because of Serum Visions and having the combo. But the fact that this comes into play tapped and has only one land is not worth it, so I'm gonna mulligan this, unfortunately. This hand is not great, but I'm gonna have to end up keeping it. So here we're just gonna lead out with a tapped Steam Vents, since I can always get basics if I need to lose less life, and this is always gonna cost me life. Okay, so Treetop Village. Treetop Village is usually not a good matchup, unfortunately, since it tends to be black-green X decks, and those tend to be really bad matchups for Splinter Twin. Our first hand was actually okay against a deck like this, but it wasn't worth keeping in the dark, just because, again, of that tap land. Serum Vision is very good, but you can't always rely on drawing the land. Especially because what would have happened is I played on turn 2 and I have to draw the card immediately. So that means I can't scry, so I have to literally draw into a land. In the meantime, my opponent's playing Urborg, which is interesting because it means I don't have to sacrifice, lose life. This is actually kind of unfortunate because not having a land means I could potentially kill the Tarmogoyf. But the fact, because then this would actually deal 2 damage to 1/2. But the fact that I don't have an island makes that plan not work. I'm not going to sacrifice my Mystery just in case I draw an untapped land. Come on, one time. It's not so bad. I can just play, we can play another Misty Rainforest if I get 2 islands, so not the end of the world. Yeah. Yeah, and our opponent has access to 0/1 Tarmogoyf, which is risky. If I had a Lightning Bolt, it would have died on the spot, but okay. Let's see what our opponent tries to do here. Ideally, they're going to tap out on turn 3. That would be fantastically, I would be very grateful to them if they did that, but I doubt it. And yeah, I mean, the fetch land was going to happen at some point anyways. It was just wishful thinking that I would get away with it. Gain basically a scrub land, plain swamp. Yeah, here we're just gonna take 1 damage. I'm actually tempted to not even play anything here. I mean, I'll sacrifice the lands, but we'll see what he does. Tarmogoyf number 2. Representing Path to Exile pretty hard here. Let's see. This is tough. Because I could have access to this spell, potentially. Let's see. I'm still not going to sacrifice the lands, just to increase my chances of drawing a land. And I don't want to play Electrolyze because then it boosts both Goys. Basically, the plan is to go Deceiver into Twin with the spell backup, because this is probably going to end up as a Path to Exile. So yeah, we get there. So I'm going to play my Scalding Tarn and pass a turn. It's worth noting because there's swamps, I'm going to have to sacrifice them at some point. But here I've done nothing. So my opponent hasn't played this card as well, so that's either pretty fortunate or in that they don't have it. But yeah, they're just gonna. My opponent's probably gonna just keep mana up and keep attacking for 1 every turn. And yeah, those Goyfs are gonna be a problem. It is a bit of a shame I did not have Lightning Bolt, because that'd be great. So let's see what he does here. If he taps out 3 mana, 4 mana for Siege Rhino, maybe? Okay, he taps out, so we win. And that's how the combo works. Your opponent doesn't always pay attention to those little details. So we're going to pay 1, get an island. Now I'm going to play around Slaughter Pact, because I can. So we're going to get an island again. And here I'm going to fetch this to get a mountain. Right, so at this point, I just play. Oh, I hate Urborg Online, having to tap those, but yeah. And now we have access to Splinter Twin with the spell backup for Slaughter Pact. Yeah, our opponent probably was just thinking the coast would be clear, or had nothing to do and just had to go for it. So yeah, let's just get another island. Since we have both red mana sources for our combo. Hopefully our opponent will just concede so you guys don't have to just watch me do a bunch of clicks, but we'll see. I can't decide. It's quite possible my opponent has Slaughter Pact, but he does not, so we're going to begin sideboarding. And yeah, that's how the combo works sometimes. Now against Jund, I board out every single Splinter Twin I have against Abzan, because they don't have access. I find that like you can against Abzan keep in 1 or 2 twins. I'm definitely taking out 2 though. Explosives is great against both Lingering Souls and Tarmogoyfs. Karanosses are very just good. Because of the manlands and the tricolor, Symptoms, Blood Moon is great. We don't want Pyroclasm or Grudge. I know you might think Pyroclasm is worth it considering our opponent's start last game, but no. Dismember is fine. Our opponent not having this card was actually really good for us. And then we can play, I think Jace Architect of Thought is good for this matchup as well. As to what we don't want, I'm okay with cutting 1 Lightning Bolt since there's not many threats it actually takes care of. You can still like, race them, but yeah. The spells are kind of awkward since you only count early Path to Exile. So I'm okay with boarding out of the spells because our opponent doesn't have access to something like Kolaghan's Command. It's okay to board them out. I believe, maybe I'm wrong. Romance fine. Snapcaster's fine. These are cards we want. Deceiver, Pestermite, Steal Damage. There is a shame in that Pestermite does run into Lingering Souls. But yeah, that's fine. What I'll probably do is board out a twin, keep 1 twin in. Because we board out twin, the thing is these 4 spells can come in because we're taking out twins, like the expensive cards for expensive cards. I'm okay with keeping 1 twin in. And yeah, I know they have Lingering Souls, but Pestermite is so good otherwise. It's worth taking the risk, I guess. We have some ways to deal with Lingering Souls, but that card is surprisingly really good because it tends to be in strategies that, while Lingering Souls as a card is bad, the fact that it's indexed with this card usually tends to mean it's pretty good against Splinter Twin. So we're going to submit this. Okay. Hopefully it will work out, but Abzan is not usually a good matchup. This hand is very mana intensive, but we're on the draw and there's tons of things we can do, so we're going to keep. We got action against Goyf's. Blood Moon is pretty good if my opponent doesn't have too much discard. Yeah, so they play Temple Garden. Tapped, I would assume. It's very rare that my opponent would go Temple Garden and 1 draw. Oh, my opponent played 2 life for their Temple Garden, so they have a Noble Heart, maybe? That's very unusual. I can't think of a card. I legitimately cannot think of why you would play Temple Garden untapped on turn 1 and do nothing with it. There's no reason in my view. I guess my opponent just misclicked. Or like on the land or some Temple Garden Plains. Okay, this is weird. The Plains is actually pretty unfortunate. It makes the Blood Moon much worse. But the worst card for us is Swamp usually. So as long as, yeah. Wow, our opponent really is not scared to run those things that Goyf out. So I think here it's, let's see. I could run out the explosives for 2 here. But the fact that yeah, I'm not really a fan of it because if our opponent goes like Black Swords Abrupt Decay, I guess they could go Black Swords discard, but Blood Moon is so much better. Also, it doesn't make our opponent. It doesn't incentivize our opponent to run into engineered explosives for 2. And I play the fetch land here, by the way, just in case I'm drawing another fetch land, so I can get a second basic island for my Blood Moon. And then I have the basic island on top to complement for Cryptic Command. Yeah, I think not playing the explosives here is correct, just because it might bait our opponent into making an incorrect decision. It might have been too greedy, though. Actually, I think it was too greedy here, since we have so many 4-drops. Yeah, so he's going to play Overgrown Tomb, pay life. Yeah, I think that was incorrect now. I consider it a little more. Well, we'll see what happens here. But if our opponent has a discard spell, we'll probably play it here. Because I'll Pride Mage. That's a very good reason not to have played explosives. It's also a very good reason not to run Blood Moon out next turn. So let's see here. I'm not going to crack the Scalding Tarn yet since I want lands. Yes, I'm getting attacked for 2 here. I'm actually pretty happy if I can Lightning Bolt the Tarmogoyf. But that's if I top deck that style of card, of course. Right, so the second Scalding Tarn here is good because it means I can get a basic island. I'm definitely not going to play Blood Moon here, not into Pride Mage. So I'm going to play the island. Here I have a few options, but I'm probably going to play it on my opponent's draw step. Simply because it seems like the best option. Let's just get those lands now. There's no need to wait. Island. If my opponent paths my Vindelian Clique, I'm not too unhappy here. Yeah, island as well. The second island means that I don't have I have the mana to explosives and counter and use it, but not do another red spell, which is frustrating potentially. But I think that just getting the third island for Cryptic is more important. So the only problem here is it's going to tell him the coast is clear. But I think my opponent would have just slammed any spell. So it's okay to play the Clique here. I definitely want to get rid of something like Lingering Souls if he has it in hand. And my hand is full of gas here, so there's no need to do anything there. Okay, let's see what happens. If you pass this is great. Okay. So opponent has Golgari Charm. Okay. Golgari Charm. Path. Tarmogoyf. Flats. Heath. So here, I kind of want to get rid of the Golgari Charm because if you could get a basic swamp as well with the Marsh Flats, which is actually kind of unfortunate. But next turn I'm definitely going to explosives for 2. Let's see, I'm going to explosives for 2. So I want to incentivize him to play the Tarmogoyf, but he can always play it. So I'm going to say no. I'm okay with the hand as it is. Since it means probably no threats, and I can just offload a Jace or Keranos or whatever needs to happen, which is good. Now here the thing is, I can trade my Vindelian Clique for a Goyf. Which, this is interesting. He doesn't play a land. Yeah, oh, he might have skipped it again by the misclick. I think that's what happened to you. Yeah, so he's at end of combat. The Path to Exile also means he can get a basic, so I'm already off the Blood Moon plan. And that's kind of the drawback of a card like Blood Moon on the draw, even against a deck like Abzan. Although he plays the Heath. Nah, it doesn't matter. Like, unless he got basic Swamp it. Yeah, so he plays here the Windswept Heath. Probably looking to play Golgari Charm. I'm really hoping he lands a Goyf. Engineered Explosives is so good. Yeah, so he's getting basic, so he's worried about Blood Moon, as you can tell. And this is what I mean, right? Is like, against a player like this, Blood Moon is less good. Engineered Explosives, on the other hand, is could be okay. Except, of course, it's worth remembering that Golgari Charms allow it to regenerate his creatures, which is something I just considered. So I need to figure this one out. Let's see. I should have actually taken the Golgari Charm. I forgot about the fact that it allows for regenerations through engineered explosives. So let's see here. I can probably just attack for 2. I should have actually played a land first, but yeah. Because the Goyfs are 2 freeze, I could actually play Jace Architect of Thought to force his hand into playing a Path to Exile. Also think I may misplace here. I telegraphed to my opponent. By getting the islands early, I telegraphed to my opponent that I had Blood Moon. Which is why he's fetching basics so early. So yeah, so here he takes that. Let's see here. Yeah, explosive. I should have taken the Golgari Charm. That was very silly of me, actually. Let's see. Based on his hand, I can probably play the Architect of Thought, since if he paths, then it takes some damage, but it's not the end of the world. I think the Architect of Thought is fine here. Just plussing it. I don't want the Jace to die. Yeah, regenerate, and I mean, right. So this way, Jace is probably gonna survive. But yeah, I should have taken the Golgari Charm. That was really silly of me. I forgot completely about the regeneration clause. And this is what I mean. This is why Modern's so hard. You know, you're facing a card like Golgari Charm that I haven't seen in Modern in over a year. Yeah, and but he uses it here, which is great for me because, I mean, he uses it here because it kills a creature and it makes his Goyf bitter, and he's probably going to end up killing the Jace. I really misplayed this game. I played this terribly. I should have just kept up Cryptic. Gonna lose the Jace here for almost no benefit. Yeah, that was bad play on my part. The thing is, I wanted to incentivize the Golgari Charm to get used up here. That's my rationalization. It might be incorrect here, but you know, yeah. Well, Jace is at 1, so it's not too bad here. How is that 1? Oh, he attacked me for 1? Okay. So I think my opponent attacked me for 1 by accident somehow, so we're gonna plus. And yeah, here I'm just gonna play engineered explosives for blue-red. Yeah, and we're just gonna crack it now. Like, there's no way I don't crack it at some point. And I don't want him to like top deck another Golgari Charm. Okay, so here we're gonna pass. But I definitely made an error there, not taking the Golgari Charm. I mean, my opponent not killing the Jace was very fortunate for me, but yeah. Well, normally Thoughtseize would be really good against this deck, but at this stage of the game, I mean, he could take the Keranos, I guess. I mean, there's so much gasoline in my hand. The Blood Moon's, it's not that big a problem because he had access to Marsh Flats. So he's probably not taking the Blood Moon. The fact that this is Thoughtseize instead of Inquisition is kind of frustrating, actually. Yeah, he takes the Keranos. I think that's the correct call. He's going to get a basic swamp here. I'm pretty certain. Yep. I may still play Blood Moon. Yeah, just because it avoids double colored of any mana, so Remand becomes basically a counterspell for the turn. And there's the 1 Splinter Twin. Yeah, I think we're fine with Blood Moon. Let me think here. I'll probably just get an island first, though. I'm gonna draw into so many other things. Yeah, let's just get an island. It also means he can't like play something like Liliana, and it means his manlands are bad. So Blood Moon's not great here. It's not really the card I was hoping for. Like, the card's fine. This isn't like the best matchup for Blood Moon, but it's still fine. So Jace said freeze, so next turn we're probably gonna minus yeah, we're gonna minus it to draw some cards. Right. Now I'm basically trying to deal damage to my opponent. And yeah, the Blood Moon already hurting me because I could use Desolate Lighthouse. Oh well. I think my opponent just gonna give me Snapcaster Mage and Offers if he's playing this correctly. He seems to have trouble sorting the piles out. The thing is, I do have Splinter Twin, but he does have Path to Exile. But I have Remand, although he could have Abrupt Decay. I mean, it's not even close here. Snapcaster Lighthouse is by far the better pile, even though I have Splinter Twin in hand. Like, think about it this way, right? Like, the Deceiver Exarch is fine, but this pile is just so much better. Like, with a hand like Remand and Cryptic, I have access to 4 blue, so I get to Cryptic my opponent's spell. And do it again with Snapcaster? That's insane. Heck, I can even like Splinter Twin with Snapcaster Mage if needed. Probably not, since I don't have so much in the graveyard, but yeah. Yeah, and at this point, I'm just Inquisition of Kozilek. I'm okay with, let's see, I could Remand it. The thing is, I don't want to get rid of it eventually, so I'll counter it and draw a card. Yeah, Dismember's okay. Although Tarmogoyf will be already pretty huge because there's Artifact, Enchantment, Instant Creature, Artifact. Yeah, Goyf is annoying to count. There's Creature, Sorcery Instant, so that's free. Land, Enchantment, Art. Wow, it's a 6/7. Ugh. Yeah, Goyf is gonna be pretty big. So yeah, here just untap. Play this plus Jace, and just say go. Now I have access to Snapcaster. And yeah, it's interesting here that Blood Moon's hurting me more than my opponent, which was definitely a consideration. I mean, I still play it because it means my Remand is like is really great. Because these tricolor decks like usually have the mana to recast them. And look, the fact that he's destroying the Blood Moon is very interesting. I think that's actually okay. I don't mind. Blood Moon it's not doing anything, so yeah, sure. I get my Desolate Lighthouse back as well? That's great. Like, sure, it means my Remand is less good, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm okay with that, considering I get to Lighthouse. Yeah, and here you can see Lightning Bolt plus Snapcaster Mage is threatening to end this game in a hurry. 2 free. I don't have enough red sources to win the game this turn, and I'm in no rush, so I'll just pass the turn here. Like, if he has Rhino, like, I can just Remand the Rhino, or Cryptic it, or... I'll probably Remand it, though, since I want to use the Snapcaster on Lightning Bolt. Ghost Quarter. That's interesting. That gets rid of the Desolate Lighthouse. I could activate it, but since I'm planning on winning the game, I think it's okay not to. Let's see, I have how much mana? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I can add 1, get a mountain. Yes, mountain. I can just... Oh, I had floating mana, but it didn't allow me to use it, which is a bit frustrating. I did not know that that was a thing. Doesn't matter too much though. We're just going to electrolyze. My opponent. Lightning Bolt. And then in case he has some kind of instant speed life gain, I'm just going to untap. Although I'm pretty sure I'm safe here. Snapcaster Mage. Targeting Lightning Bolt. Yeah, and that's the match. So yeah, Blood Moon was not what it was, but yeah, again, and this is why I love a card like Engineered Explosives, is like it just takes you out of jams like that. They have no business beating. No, I could actually see a second Engineered Explosives. It's really good in matchups like this. It used to be really great before Tassiger existed, and now that Tassiger exists, it's not as great. So that's worth keeping in mind, but I still like the card. Like getting rid of all the lingering soul tokens and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's the match. So yeah, 2-0 in the lead. That's pretty good for me.